Welcome to this webinar by BA Sphere. We hope you enjoy it. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Thank you so much, everybody, for having me here. It's so lovely and wonderful to see everybody. I'm very much impressed with how we have engaged with the icebreaker our host has brought to light this afternoon. And just before I get into the slide, I just wanted to say that as business analysts or potential business analysts, it is highly imperative for us to master the art of breaking the ice, because most of the time when you want to engage with your stakeholders, however big, however small, you want to be able to calm the tension in the room. So that introduction of icebreaker is very important for everybody to just feel relaxed, feel calm, so that they can be set and ready for the order of the day. If it's a workshop, if it's an interview, most often than not in a workshop. So just in case some of us are wondering, why is the host bringing us games and quizzes? These are some of the things that you would need to be able to do and understand as a potential business analyst or as a business analyst. So I just thought, to let you know about that side of things, just in case anybody is wondering, why are we doing that? So I'm just gonna get into my slide. Okay, so today we will be talking more around just a brief introduction, how I got into the NHS, how you can write a very lovely, strong and convincing personal statement or a supporting information if you like. We'll also be talking about how you can pass an interview, how you can also grow into a senior business analyst role or a principal business analyst role, or you see yourself as a business architecture person, you're aiming for the big guys role, and then we just give ourselves some sort of advice for anybody who's aspiring to become a business analyst. And then we'll close the session by talking about our final thought. Just a brief overview of what I do, my roles and responsibilities. I'm a senior business analyst, and part of my responsibility is to identify a business problem or business issues. The other bit is that as BAs, we are like an agent. We're agents, we act as change agents. We bridge the gap between what the business needs, where they need to be, and the IT, the information and technology people, those who would design the solution, who would make sure that the solution is aligned with what the business needs. As part of my responsibilities as well, I gather and analyze data and propose data-driven solutions or decisions so that we can improve efficiency, improve processes, and just make the business more or closer to what they want to be. And by so doing, I, as a business analyst, we engage with stakeholders, however big, however small. We gather requirements. There's something called requirement engineering, from the point where you start to elicit the requirements to the point where the requirements are being managed. And you also, as a business analyst, do an analysis of where we are, which is the as is, to where you want to be in terms of the future, more aligned to the strategic goals and objectives. And to do all of that, we employ range of techniques, range of methodologies, range of tools to be able to get the business to what you want them to get to at the end of the day. So you employ things like process modeling, you employ things like gap analysis, impact analysis, use cases, user stories, and things like that. And then the bulk of it will be stakeholder engagement, stakeholder management, how you identify your stakeholders, what their needs are, how you can resolve conflict with your stakeholders, how you can also communicate with your stakeholders. So that's pretty much, what we do as business analysts. I just wanted to also talk about what my motivation is. Personally, I've always wanted to be a career person, a more goal-oriented person. I am a natural problem solver. I like to identify a need and then find ways to make sure that those needs are met. I will try as much as possible to make sure that I'm contributing to a change. I'm not I'm not one to like to add to the problems, but I want to make sure that the problems go away. So that is actually why when the old rave of business analysis came up, it was something that motivated me, something that I became more interested in. So we'll talk about how you can get into the NHS. But first and foremost, you need to ask yourself, what is your motivation? Why NHS, as a matter of fact? Why not another organization? Does it have to be NHS? Does it have to not be NHS? You need to understand what your why is. You need to understand that drive, that force, that passion, that enthusiasm to actually want to get to where you want to be. So we will be talking about how you can get in, what you need to do to get to where you need to get to. I've touched on some of my my experience. I just want to also give fleshing it a little bit and give you a more detailed information about my application experience. So my first application, when I got into NHS, I came in as a contact center person. Now, before I joined as a contact center agent, my application went in 3 times. I mean, you could have thought it's a contact center role. It's not much is required. But I did have to submit the application 3 times. And again, my motivation to join the NHS BA was birthed as a result of some of my friends and colleagues that were done masters together. That was where they were, they all started out from. And then I felt it was good because I had also applied to other private companies. As a matter of fact, I got one. The one I got was to it was a contact center role as well, but it was more for vulnerable people. And I just had a baby at the time. I didn't think I could do it. And then I was also told that it was just going to be a one-man kind of, role. I didn't have a manager. I wasn't going to have anybody to report to. It was just going to be me. So I thought, no, because you're dealing with vulnerable people. Even me, myself, at the time, I was vulnerable. So even me, I needed help. So there was no way I could speak to any vulnerable people. So I declined that role. I got another contact center role with one of these agencies for bills and payments and things like that, just before I landed this NHS role. Now, this NHS contact center role, I've done it 3 times because the first 2 applications, I wasn't aligning myself with the person's specification, the desirable and essential criteria. So I was getting rejected. And you can imagine that I worked in a bank, so I knew what they wanted. And when I eventually got the role, I saw the gaps of, the first 2 applications. So sometimes we can actually do these roles, we can do these things, but we need structure, we need consistency, we need flow in our applications, and that is what is usually missing. We will talk about that in further details today. So my experience in my first application, I researched about NHS BA. That's where I work. NHS BA is an arm's length body of the Department of Health and Social Care, where we provide services to service users, customers, and even the NHS itself, NHS England, that has just been disbanded. So there are some services we provide to the NHS, and there are also some services that the NHS will give to the NHS BA that we do on their behalf. NHS BA is a company that provides exemptions to the public or the visited citizens. So we do things around medical exemption certificate, prescription exemption certificate, tax credit that has just been disbanded. We also do things around vaccine damage payment scheme, We also do things around overseas health service, OHS, where there is European health insurance card and global health insurance card. If you'd like to know more about NHS BSA, just go to NHS BSA on Google, and then you would see some of the services that we also provide. So I researched about the company, and then I was much interested. And then some of my challenges in the application was I was not aligning myself with what this person's specification wanted. I just thought it was something I could do, so I just put in the application in there. So as a result of that experience, I learned from my mistake, and then I was persistent because that was what I wanted. I said, this is what I want. So I kept trying, even though I was getting, unfortunately, I kept putting in the application. But every time I submitted the application, I was doing something better till I got that very one I got. Then the second application experience, which was the senior business analyst role, was my motivation was I wanted to do something totally different from what I'd been doing. And I tried to be myself. I was authentic to myself, authentic to people that were around me. I made them see who I really was, or what I actually wanted as a person. Then I had transferable skills. So one thing with the NHS, the wider NHS and the NHS BSA, or any organization that is an arm's length body that is within the Department of Health and Social Care, is they're also very big on transferable skills. So sometimes you might not even, have the requisite skills, but you have something that you have done that you feel like if you transfer it into that role, you would excel, you would be successful. They actually want to see it, right? So part of my motivation in there was I wanted improved financial stability. Let's be honest with ourselves. We're in the UK, and the bills are endless. Sometimes when you even go up the ladder, you want more money. So that was actually one of my motivation as well. Then part of the things I did was, like I said, I reached out to people within the business analysis community. I didn't know anybody in there. I just looked for a random person, somebody I knew, who was like us, was a Nigerian, that I thought, let me reach out to this person. What's the worst that can happen? They will tell me no. Then I'll look for someone else to speak to. So I reached out to people within the business. I went on LinkedIn. I spoke to people who knew people. As a matter of fact, somebody who I spoke to, who was my friend, who introduced me to another person, spoke to another person, and the other person at the end of the day ended up becoming my manager. It was just coincidental. I didn't know, but I'm just trying to say that when you reach out to people, you really don't know where your name will be mentioned. You don't know how people will talk about you. So reach out to people, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, to be rejected. Rejection is part of life. That's how I've always seen it. Rejection is a part of life. If you don't master the art of, once you're rejected, yeah, you can cry, you can be sober, pick up yourself and move on. That's always how I've always seen life, until you get what you want. Once you get what you want, then yes, you can say, all right, yes, that's okay. But you will have to strive, you have to persist, you have to push, you would have to strive. And sometimes in between, it would come with rejection. Don't let that deter you. Don't let that set you back. Okay. So the other point is I brought my experience and skills, my banking experience, what I could do, some of the skills I've learned, some of the skills I'd also picked up. Now, during one of those trainings, the BA trainings that I did, there were things that I said, you know what, can I just pick up on this? I don't know it, but like one of my mentors would say, it'd say that if you have danced the dance before, if they call you to come and dance it again, you'll be able to dance the dance again. I learned that from one of my trainings. So I picked up, projects, I picked up takeaways, assignments. I would propose, oh, can I do this? And then those things stayed with me. They helped me when I wanted to get, the second application. And also the motivation was I wanted an improved career for myself. So that's about my application experience. Right. So some of the tips to applying for a role is that number one, you have to review the job description. Please don't assume. You can think that a delivery manager role and a project manager role are the same. They are not the same. So it means you have to review the job description. What exactly do they want? What are the roles? What are the responsibilities? Can I do them? One thing I always advise people is don't lie to yourself. You can lie to everybody, but don't lie to yourself. Can you do it? Ask yourself, can you do it? Is it something that resonates with you? Even if you can't do everything, they're not looking for perfection, but do you have transferable skills? Do you have skills that, would align you to these roles and responsibilities and the person's specification? The other bit is that another tip to applying is if you're unsure about a particular section, requirement of the application. Usually you have, hiring managers in that advert. And that's why I said contact the hiring manager if provided. You can never go wrong with contacting them. Sometimes it's just about you've seen something in the advert and you're not sure your client. Rather than assuming, rather than brushing it off, you can contact the hiring manager. It's a support that has been put in there for or any applicant who would like for it. So contact the hiring manager if you have the information provided. The third one is include your relevant skills and qualification. I have included relevant. If say you at some point in time you, for instance, had volunteering experience that is not aligned or is not in tune with that advert, I would say don't bother putting it inside. It's very irrelevant. But if you think that it's very relevant to that role, please by all means put it in there. This leads me to the fourth point, which is while you're putting in those requirements in the application. So you started your application. Please write them in a STAR technique. So STAR means situation, task, action, result. Now, one thing with us as Nigerians is we have been told to suppress our successes, to not talk about what we've done, to not talk about the accolades we've received, and etc. I remember some of our applications, I used to put there that, I got an award for being the best in my subzone. So it's very important here. They are very big on some of those things you have done in the past. So put that in your role. It's when you have an opportunity to submit an application, it's an opportunity for you to sell yourself. And please don't sell yourself short. The reviewer, the hiring manager, most of the time, they don't know you. But when you sell yourself in your application, can you picture what is going on in their head? And just to also let you know, they don't know who is who. These applications are, at least I can speak for the NHS, these applications are, they don't have names, so nobody is seeing whose name it is. They are, what do they call them when you don't know? They're anonymous, yes. So they don't know your name. They don't even as much as know your email address. So they can't even say, this person is black, or this person is brown, or this person is white. So yes, we know that some things will give us away. So you know how the white people speak. How they speak is how they write. So you can already tell. But with black people, we speak way differently to the white folks. It's not, we speak differently, so we would definitely write differently. So when you're submitting an application, please use the STAR technique. So you want to talk about what the situation is or was. You talk about the task, the action, and what the results were. What were the learning curves? What were your reflections? We will talk more in detail about this in a couple of slides. So when you're also giving an example of your success, you need to, if you have transferable skills, mention it. If you see a skill in there that you think, oh, I don't know this, I have not done it before, and you think you have transferable skills, please include it. Oh, at this point in time, yes, I don't have this particular skill, but this is what I have. And tell them how you did it in the past or how you've done it, and tailor it to that person's specification. The next one is tailor your experience and your skills to the job role. What are they asking for? So you have read it, you have understood it. How then can you tailor your experience and skills to that job role? So point 3, point 4, point 5, they're together. Now, the next one is you want to be able to, in your application, align yourself to the company's values, to their goals, to their strategic aims and goals. That is one thing they usually look out for, especially the NHS. Their values. So it means you have to do a bit of research on them. You have to go online. What is their goal? What's their strategic? Where do they want to be in 2020, 2027? What do they want to be in the next 5-10 years? How do you see yourself adding value and ensuring that the business is getting to where they want to get to? Then the last thing on here, as a tip to applying, is you have to proofread your statements. We cannot overemphasize proofreading. You can give the proofreading to a second person, because you know how they have written something. We're usually biased to ourselves because we feel like we have done the absolute best. If you cannot proofread yourself, you need to give it to someone that is neutral, somebody that doesn't even know what you're doing. Just say, oh, hi, my friend, I've just done this application. Can you take a second level look for me? They would identify the loopholes. They will identify the grammatical errors. They will identify the punctuation marks. Sometimes you even have an incomplete statement in your application and we don't know. But when you give it to another person to have a look, right, they'll be able to spot those very tiny details. We might think it doesn't matter. We might think, oh, whoever is reading should understand. Not everybody will do that. If you think you would understand if you were in that situation, the next person might not do that. So it's one thing for you to do your application in all of this number 1 to number 5 or to number 6. But that number 7 is very important. Give it to a neutral person to have a look for you before you finally submit. Okay? So we move on to the next slide. Right. So what are the relevant details you need in your supporting information? I know that NHS and NHS BA, they are very particular about some of those things in your supporting information. So first of all, when you want to start your application, introduce yourself at the start of the application and what you do currently. So it's like, you're building a flow. You're building, when we watch movies, before you get to the action part, or if you watch horror movies, before you get to the very horror ones, they will actually create the base for you. They want to create, a story. So you're building a story. That's how it is with your supporting information as well. Introduce yourself, right, at the start of the application and what you do currently. That's not to say you're saying, oh, my name is, no, right? So you introduce yourself. You're talking about what you do, or what you do currently, or what you used to do before. So it's like you can decide to go forward or you decide to go backward. So if you say you're doing a forward approach, it means what are you doing currently, and then build it back to how you started your career. So like when I introduced myself today, I started from the backward. I talked about, how I started my career, and I built that story up onto what I do today. So that is a backward approach. You can do a forward approach in the sense that, oh, I'm a business analyst, this is how I got it. And, take it back. So you want to introduce yourself. The second thing you want to do is, like we said on the previous slide, you want to sell yourself. Every opportunity to sell yourself, please do. If you're in the UK, it is very important. If you're not even in the UK, if you're anywhere else in the world listening to me, you want to sell yourself. You want to talk about your achievements. You want to talk about those things you have done. on your previous role, on your current role. You want your hiring manager to feel you. You want them to be able to picture, oh, who's this person? You want them to be able to think about you. And then they're like, oh, okay, this person would be a very, very useful candidate for us. So let's push this person to the interview stage. And the only way to do that is to actually sell yourself. So you're focusing on yourself this time around. The other thing is, so what are the skills? The skills in the advert, you've looked at it. If you don't meet up, you have transferable skills. What do I have? What do I have inward? Take a very, very deep dive into yourself. Is that, like I said, it's an opportunity to sell yourself. You don't want to sell yourself short at all, right? The fourth point is that you need to build that consistency and flow. For instance, if in your supporting information, you are using the paragraph approach. So people use paragraph and people use, title and people use bullet point. You want to be consistent with an approach. If you're using paragraph, use paragraph throughout. But you don't want it to look clumsy. You don't want it to look somehow. You want to be able to be, that consistency and that flow. If you're using bullet points, you want to be able to do that throughout, or you want to have a mix of both, but just make sure it is consistent. Your start approach, you also want it to be consistent, right? You're not talking about the situation and then you're going to the result. No, you're building a story. Also tell us, oh, there was a time when in my previous workplace, our systems were end of life, for instance. They were old. They were not longer giving us the modern, architecture. They were not giving us the modern, satisfaction. That's the situation. Now, what's the task? Now, say for instance, I was a project manager and then I was tasked to do X, Y, and Z. I was tasked to find out what the problems were, what were the systems end of life, what can we do? That's the task. Now then it gets interesting in the action. What did you do? How did you do it? You're building that story. How did you do it? Who did you speak to? What interview did you set up? Why did you do that? That's the action. And when you're saying it, I did, it is in a singular, it's going to be in singular form. It's not we. Yes, you can be in a team. You can talk about as a team. That's fine. But what did you do? That action is like the icing on the cake. That's that bit where you want to sell yourself. You want to make sure that all the relevant information are in there. What did you do? How did you do it? What tool did you employ? What technology? What technique? What method? What approach? And then we'll come to the R. What were the results? So what happened? So at the end of the day, we're able to change software, for instance, or you're able to change the application of the solution. And this meant that efficiency improved, staff performance improved, customer experience improved. And tell us, what did you learn from it? You want to tell them, what were you learning? What were your key takeaways? What were you learning? What did you pick out of it that you feel like if you bring into this new role, it would actually make a massive difference as well? The fifth one is you want to avoid technical jargon. If you think that everybody will understand what SWOT is, so SWOT is SWOT. This is just an example. Also, I applied the SWOT analysis. Your hiring manager might know, but the people on the interview panel might not know. Or the hiring manager might not even know. So you want to avoid technical jargon. Jargon does not mean nonsense. Technical jargon means you're saying things that only you understand, or statements that apply within the jurisdiction of where you are. And the outsider might not understand it. And that's why we have different terms for different people at different points in time. For instance, when you are on the airplane, they will say passengers. But if you are in an opera, for instance, so a musical concert, you hear audience. They are the same thing, same set of people, like you're referring to a set of people. But in that context, in that gathering, they are different. Say, audience and passengers. They are the same, but they are different. So you want to avoid technical jargon. If you must use any form of jargon, please, by all means, explain what it is. A liner will do. A liner or a two-line will do. Just explain what it is, just so that whoever is reading has an understanding of what you're saying. Then the other point is you want to show your passion. What are you enthusiastic about? What are you interested in? Like I said, personally, I like to be able to, solve people's problems. That's me naturally. What do you like to do? What are your passions? Away from, the role, away from the business, what do you personally, what do you like to do? So you want to show them what you do outside of work, for instance. You want to show your interest. If you think that that's too extreme, just talk about what's your passion in the organization. What are your interests? And then you want to close with why you want the role. Why do you want it? What are you going to do for them? And that's why in NHS applications, they would say that in your supporting information, you want to tell us what separates you from others. So why you? That's just what is there. Why me? Why do we need to give you that role? That's essentially what you're talking about. Okay. Now, star technique. I've just broken this down. I've talked more on it, but I just broke it down here. Star technique means the art of storytelling. You want to master the art of how to tell your story. You want to also have approach to how you tell your story in your supporting information. So the situation is, what led to that problem? What situation were you in? What happened in the business that made you do what you did? Okay. Then the task is what you needed to get done. What was your exact role, your exact responsibility? What were you specifically assigned to do? And that's why you see that I've written here, use I, not we, not my team, but me. This is what I did. This is who I spoke to. Okay. And the action is, what did you do? How did you do it? What were your approaches? Oh, for instance, as a BA, we use linear, we use agile, or we use wagile. So why did you use agile? You want to explain? Or I used agile because it's an agile, driven organization, or because you felt like that was the best thing and you needed that approach. So you just want to talk about the approach, the methodology. And you see that I wrote under the action is the most important part of it. Action is very, very important. They are very big on what your actions were. And then your result. What happened as a result of those actions? So what happened as a result of what you did previously? What did you take out of it? What skill did you learn? Did you learn how to, come up with presentation slides a lot better? Did you improve your presentation skills? Did you learn how to better manage stakeholders? Or whatever it is, what was a positive outcome? What did you learn? And what were your reflections? What did you specifically take away from it? So they're going to see you in a different light. When you say somebody is a king and this is what the king does, you can imagine that you're picturing what a king should look like in your head. That is what you want to do to whoever is reviewing your application, so that they can say, I'm moving this person to the next level. Right? Okay. So I just wanted to talk about transferable skills. So we have IT skills, data analysis skills, Microsoft 365. I'll touch more on some of these things in a couple of slides. You also want to have communication skills. These skills are very good. They are not in themselves transferable skills, but if you don't have them, they are things you can actually take with you. In your communication skills, are you an active listener? Are you jumping over people when they talk? Do you know how to speak to a large group of people? That's public speaking. How do you manage to improve, or do you have presentation skills at all? Do you know how to set up a slide? Something beautiful. It doesn't have to be perfect, but something that would drive on the point. It doesn't look clumsy. The fonts are very okay. These are things we can learn and we have to know if you must be successful at what you do. There are clerical skills. So you're good with computer. Not just, oh, I want to, press the start Windows button. Do you know shortcuts? Because sometimes it's really sad that, if you're in another country, your skin color doesn't even do justice. You are at a massive disadvantage as a result of your skin color. But you want to put some of these skills out there so that when they see you, they know, no, this person is different. And these are some of the things that you need, okay? So data entry. Do you know how to use Excel? Do you know how to use Microsoft tools? There's Microsoft tools. There's Google tools. There are some organizations that use Microsoft. They don't even use Google. Meanwhile, reverse is the case for some other companies. Now, how are you able to, I'm used to Microsoft, but I don't know how to use Google? You need to take on that skill so that when you get to an organization that knows how to use Google, you are integrating really nice. You don't want to be a pain in anybody's neck and where they're having to, train you. Also, this is how you do it. They will take the pain, but sometimes you just want to leave a lasting experience, okay? Then the other one is touch typing, MacBook or whatever. It's not important, but if you know how to use it, it will be very lovely. The other one is management skills. Can you lead a group of people? And by a group of people, it can be 3, 4, you're in a team. How do you lead? If a job application says you must have leadership skills, say you have not led in your company before, but you have done something on behalf of your manager or behalf of somebody, those are leadership transferable skills. Oh, this was not me directly, but I did this. Okay? Or in your church, they were looking for volunteers or they were looking for somebody to share something, to lead on something. That is where your art of storytelling comes in. What did you do? How did you do it? Do you know how to make decisions? Do you know how to, before you make decisions, how do you even make it? Do you just go in and say, oh yes, we just decided on this? How did you decide? So those skills are some of the things that they like. Then the other one is interpersonal skills. Are you a team player? Are you empathetic? Not just towards, your family, but are you empathetic even at the workplace? Or somebody is sick at work, I'm so sorry, I hope you take some time to get some rest. Sometimes when you're even speaking, say, if you're putting your application, they can actually, think about how this person is. You know how when we write words, you can perceive. Perception doesn't just come when we see people. Perception comes from hearing them, from what they have written. You can actually perceive the kind of person this person is, okay? Then we talk about a more broader general skill. Do you have organization skills? Do you know how to put things together? Can you multitask? Are you creative? Right? Can you do things outside of the norm? Can you come up with things? Okay. Then the last one, some of the key skills is you're able to critically think. So do you have critical thinking? Can you be a problem solver? Are you able to adapt? Okay. Are you a team player? Do you have attention to details? Can you manage people? Can you even manage one person? Okay. There was one that I wanted to talk about, but it's not here. Proactiveness. You have to be proactive. You have to be 3 steps way ahead. And that leads me to this book. If anybody has read this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. It talks about, one of the things it talks about is being proactive. You have to be proactive. You have to begin with the end in mind. So what is the goal? That goal is driving first. Then the third thing is put first things first. Think win-win. Seek first to understand, then you can then be understood. Then synergize. If you read that book, it would help you improve some of the skills we've talked about. Then there's sharpen the saw. Sharpen the saw means You want to be able to improve yourself. Okay, so that when an opportunity presents itself, you're readily available. Okay. So I'm just going to move on to the next slide. So the next slide here is talking about top in-demand skills, AI skills, industry skills. Now, for industry skills, say you're not, if you don't want to be a BA, that's okay. If you want to be something else, but you need to know what skills are needed in that industry for you to be successful, for you to thrive, for you to be able to, go up the ladder within that industry. Then I'll spend, a short amount of time on AI. So you need AI skills. One of the things that I learned recently is that AI will not replace BAs. No, I mean, if you think about back when accounting was accounting, and then we started to introduce some of these tools. These tools did not replace the accountant. As a matter of fact, it only made them better, improved them at what they do. So as a BA, I have somebody who says AI will not replace BAs, okay? But BAs using AI will replace those who don't. Let me take that again. AI will not replace BAs, but BAs using AI, right? You would replace those who don't. You want to make sure you don't want to be left behind. And this brings me to change, adaptability. Can you adapt? Can you align yourself with industry changes? You see, the world is changing, is evolving, is improving. You want to make sure you don't want to be left behind. And this brings me to this book, Who Moved My Cheese? So Who Moved My Cheese is a change management book. It helps you with change. It talks about 4 different people and how they, their cheese was taken away from them, and then they were made to go around the maze in search of cheese. Now, it's a figurative expression. Cheese means something you're used to is taken away from you. How do you make sure that you're able to replace it? Okay, if you don't get that thing, how do you make sure that you're getting something different? You're getting something better. Okay, and that's where change management comes in. With AI is here, and you want to make sure that you use everything possible, right, to make sure that it makes your life easier. AI is not there to make sure that you are being replaced, or you are going to become a dullard, or you're going to become a less of yourself. That's not how I see it. I see it as a support tool, a resource, a platform, a tool where you can go, give a prompt, and then it gives you a feedback. For me, I see it as a learning opportunity. I see it as a place to learn. You have everything in place. It will tell you what to do. Sometimes you don't even know what to do. And by extension, even your personal life. Okay? Sometimes you want to do some things, you don't know how to go about it. But go to AI, give it a prompt. Oh, I'm in this situation. I'm in this dilemma. I'm in this situation. What do I do? You will see step by step of what to do. Does that mean you're a dullard? No. Does that mean you lack the ability to function? No. You only need it as some sort of support to give you that, streamline, to give you that guide. So it's there for you, and it's here for our taking. If you want to be a BA, as a matter of fact, not just, in our workplace, like I said, by extension, our personal lives. You want to get something done, you don't know how to go about it, if you feel like you need to pay somebody, I would say go to AI. And there's different forms of AI. As a matter of fact, on this call, there's an AI that is recording this conversation. Has it not made our lives easier? Has it not made the life of the host a lot easier? It has. So all you need to do is know how to use it. If you don't know how to, go in there, right? Just do something. Like I said, if you've danced dance before, you will definitely know how to dance it again. Go in there. The information you get, trust me, nobody can take it away from you. And this boils down to, applications, interviews, you have presentation that you want to do, you don't know what to say, go in there, go into the AI. There are different AI tools. Which one do you want? As a matter of fact, Some people pay for it. Like you can pay for it. It gives you a more robust information. Okay. So go in there, ask a question. That's what that is doing for you. It is helping you to improve your critical thinking. There's something we call root causes, a root cause analysis. As a BA, you need to be able to know how to carry out a root cause analysis. And sometimes one of the techniques you use as for root cause is called 5 whys. 5. So number 5, then why? Why are you doing this? 5 whys. If there's a problem, for instance, somebody is experiencing a challenge or a company is experiencing a challenge, like the example I gave earlier, our systems are end of life. So the first why is our system end of life? If you get the answer to that question, you ask the next why. So our systems are end of life. For instance, why is it end of life? Oh, we don't have the required skills within our organization to improve those systems. Okay, why do we not have those people? That is another why. Until you get to the very, very last root cause, the very, very reason why something has happened. Okay. So another thing AI does for you is it helps you automate repetitive tasks. So as BAs, we tend to do a lot of repetitive tasks a lot because it's a project. You are following a particular pattern. You have your BA planning, your planning notes or your plan notes. It guides you on what to do for every project. Every project is different, but then you're doing the same thing. You definitely get a different experience, but you're doing the same thing. For instance, you get into a project, right? You're understanding the assets current process. What is the current assets or what is the assets? There's for every project you take on, especially if they are existing services, you're going to be doing analysis of a current process, okay? For every project, except it is a new solution, you don't have it, or if you don't have the process before. But if you're doing a process improvement, you're doing solution design, you're doing software development, you would always do current analysis of the current process. And because of that, you would always do the same thing over and over and over. Like I said, you won't get the same output, okay? But the technique, the approach is the same. So when you employ AI, all you need to do is just go to AI. Oh, this is what I want to do. It gives you what you want to do. And then, but the onus is on you to be able to improve what it has given to you. Check, validate, verify. Is this correct? Is not correct? Oh, you give it the prompt again. Okay. So another skill that I did not put here that I was supposed to put is presentation skills. So presentation can come in any form. As BAs, we speak a lot. If you're an introvert, you need to improve your presentation skill. I'm 100% introvert. I didn't used to speak, but this role requires that you speak to stakeholders, you speak to developers, you speak to testers, you speak to external stakeholders, you speak to LT. If it requires, LT means leadership team. So imagine you want to speak to the CEO of your company. What are you going to say? You don't know. You just don't know what you're going to say. Sometimes go to ChatGPT, go to any AI. Oh, I'll be speaking to this so. I'll be speaking to this leadership team, and this is the subject. What do I say? How do I say it? Trust me, you get what you want. So, but what I'm trying to say is presentation skills. You know how to come up with a slide deck. So a slide deck is a presentation slide. Do you know how to put slides together? Do you know how to use speaker notes? You know, when you're speaking to a large audience, you don't need to know everything you want to say. Can you use the speaker notes section of your PowerPoint presentation? All of those little things are very important. Okay. You also need to know AI prompt as a BA. Your output determines your input. Okay. So AI is a catalyst. You can use it for analysis, you can use it for collaboration, you can use it for interview, you can again use it for your personal life. Now, how do we pass interviews? What do I need to do to be able to pass interview? So like I said earlier, you prepare. And how do you prepare? Preparation includes your personal research of the company, Who are my mentors? Do I even have mentors? If I don't, okay, can I go to LinkedIn? Is anybody doing this kind of role? Can I go to the organization? You look at the people that are doing it. If you think, oh, let me look for somebody I can speak to, tell them your audio. Oh, I like this. Can you please help? If you think you can't do that, go to YouTube. Research. If you can't use YouTube, please go to AI. All of these things are at your beck and call, but can you use them? Can you adequately equip yourself, okay, to get to where you want to be? Now, when you want to practice, if you have, say, a presentation as a part of that interview, you must be using the right font size. You make sure they're not too tiny. Another thing you can do as part of your interview is set up mock interviews. You can speak to your friend or somebody who is a mentor or somebody who has the time and ability. They know what they are doing. Oh, please, I have this interview coming up on so date. Can you please support me? I just want to be able to do this interview right in front of you. Tell me what the loopholes are. Tell me what the challenges are so that I can make adequate adjustment as soon as possible before you get to that interview. Okay, so you want to also try to record yourself. You want to see how you speak, how you gesticulate. Are you smiling? Okay, are you engaging your audience? You also want to understand what you have submitted in your application. Sometimes when people use AI, they don't even know what is there. They just submit and then move on, and then say they call you for interview. You don't even know what's in there. So you want to be able to understand what is in your application. Okay. Now, when you get to the interview stage, you want to take notes. You want to clarify questions if you are not clear. Please ask. Oh, I'm sorry, I did not quite catch what you said. Can you come on that question again? There is no, don't feel like, oh, they will feel a certain way. No, it doesn't add or subtract, your marks. It just shows that you know what you are doing. Okay, the ability for you to be able to clarify is a skill that you need, even as a BA, because you get stakeholders and tell you, oh, this is my requirement. You just won't take it hook, line, and sinker. When you're analyzing it and you don't understand, you go back to them. Oh, hi, Jake, I did not quite understand this. Can you please explain? And you want to also go a step further. Are you happy for me to record this conversation? Record the conversation just so that if you're not clear again, you don't know what has been said.
Hello,
you can equally go back.
No.
You can equally go back to those recordings. Okay. When you're speaking, please take your time. It doesn't mean you're slow. Use small talk. As a matter of fact, make it conversational if you can. Make it. You want to reduce the tension. You want to be able to calm yourself and make it look like a chit chat. We've had people who have said they've gone to interviews and it felt like they were chit chatting. Okay, so you want to make it look like so that the tension in your body can go away. You want to feel as relaxed as possible. Also, you want to communicate like a pro. So you want to know what you're doing, what you're saying, because when you're speaking, they are assessing your soft skills. They're looking at, oh, okay, does this person know? Say they've asked you a question. You want to make sure you're not going beyond 2 minutes, for instance. As much as you're trying to put all of these things in there, you are also practicing time management, which is also a soft skill. Okay, so you want to be sure that you're doing the right thing. You're communicating like a pro. Go straight to the point, concise, straightforward. 2 minutes, and you're done. Okay, be confident, smile. Be yourself, be your authentic self, be courteous, be respectful. Okay, you want to get all of those things done. And then post the interview. Say after the interview or during the interview as you're closing, right? You want to ask, what are the next steps? You also want to write, what are the key points? If you're not sure, okay, you can ask questions even about the company. Ask them, what are the challenges? What made the previous person leave? Why did they leave? What's the, attrition? What's the culture of the company? They would see that this person understands, wants to actually join us. So it means you've done your research, and by so doing, you have come back with questions. If they ask you, do you have any questions for us? Even if it is one, ask questions, please, okay? Right. So we're gradually drawing the curtain, and I'm hoping that I have hit the nail on the head. So you want to progress, you want to move to a BA role, you want to become a senior business analyst. These are the things you need to do. Invest in yourself, continuous learning and skill development. Pay for that skill if it is necessary. Before you pay, go to AI. Or what do I need to do to, get to where I need to get to? If it means paying for these services, one of the things that I used to hear as I was growing up is you use money to get money. The same thing goes for investment. Okay, if you want to invest in, say, a stock, in a bond, in a share, for instance, you put your money in it. It is that money that grows into something big. So you also want to be, for instance, you want to be the CEO. What are you doing for you to get to the CEO level? Who are you speaking to? What skills are you learning? Okay, how are you improving yourself? So you want to invest in yourself. Speak to that mentor. Look for that mentor. Join those boot camps. Join those learnings. They would improve you. Okay. The other thing is take on projects. Speak to whoever is in your organization. If it is the BA role you want, this is, you want to shadow somebody. You want to observe. You're seeing how things are being done in real time, and you have to commit to it. Okay. The third thing is, be open to mentorship, be open to support. So mentorship is you're looking for somebody. The support is, okay, I've never done this before. Can I have somebody under me? That helps you improve. Some of those things that you ordinarily would not do, it makes you do them. Okay, for instance, speaking engagement, just an instance, you know how to do something very nice. And somebody says, oh, can you please speak on this to a large group of people? And then you say, oh, yes. Now, that will force you to go back, to research, to learn, to improve yourself, to make sure you're not going out there to say nonsense. Okay, so that is building you. You're building your capacity. Okay, the last one is proactive career positioning. How are you positioning yourself? Seek feedback from people. Oh, I've done something. What do you think about it? Now, some people don't know how to give feedback. But take it open-mindedly, take it openly. Take the bits that are important, take it out of it. The other one is set smart goals, realistic goals. Now, there's something in business analysis we call high level, and detailed level, say for a requirement. Now, if you're gathering your requirement, there's a very high level one. You're not going into details. For instance, like what I have done on this slide, invest in yourself is high level. Project is high level. Mentorship and support is high level. They are very high level statements. I have not gone into detail. Now, I've only gone into details by saying invest in yourself by doing A, B, C, D. The same thing is how you want to position yourself in your career. You're setting smart goals. Okay, what are my goals? What is my ultimate goal? For instance, I want to become a CEO. Okay, that's my dream. That's my goal. Okay, now the very baby ones is what you're setting. How do you want to do it? How? What do I need to do? Those are the details of your goals, and they have to be smart. They have to be specific. Okay? They have to be measurable. Okay? Can you quantify it? They want to be achievable. Let's not lie to ourselves. Let's not lie. Let's not steal. Okay? You want to make sure they are realistic. Again, let's not lie. Let's not steal. There is also time bound. So there's timeline to everything. You want to become a CEO in the next 5 years. What do I need to start doing from now till 4.9 years so that by the 5th year I'm becoming a CEO? Then the last one is you want to be able to show leadership. Okay? You're taking up things. You're putting yourself forward. You're volunteering yourself. You might not know it, but by the sole reason of saying, oh, I want to do this, it makes you know what you did not know, and it stays with you forever. Nobody will take that away from you. Okay, so I just wanted to encourage us today, in addition to some of these tips, please develop your skill, improve your networking and learning, continuous improvement. You want to make sure that you are relevant, even when the society is changing, when standards are changing, when the businesses are changing. You want to make sure that as they are changing, you are not left behind. People can still reach out to you, or you can still take on that role because you have improved in yourself. The other one I've got here is keep abreast of industry standards and changes. Also, you want to align yourself to political and economical changes. If you're in the UK, you're anywhere outside of Nigeria, even in Nigeria, what's going on in politics? Because some of those things that are going on are impacting on some projects or programs that will be, launched in your organization. So you can say, for instance, the price of the exchange rate has gone up. How is this affecting the project? Okay, that's just an instance. Okay, take the initiative. There's no perfect timing. Okay, so take the initiative, help people, support people, take on that project, volunteer yourself, give yourself to something that you can be held accountable for. BAs are becoming Scrum Masters. They are becoming delivery managers. They are becoming even business architects. Okay, it does not have to be a BA. You must not be a BA. It can be anything. It can be anything you actually want to be. Okay. And as I round up, I'm not sure if that's the last slide, but okay. Sorry, I apologize. Okay, so our closing thoughts. So sorry I've taken so much of your time. As a closing thought, I just want to talk more on, please keep an open mind. Whatever you want to do, have the can-do spirit. I can do it. You know how they say words are life? Speak to yourself, speak to your soul, speak to your spirit. I can do this. You'll see that things will align, they will fall in place for you. Okay? The universe is listening. Do it afraid, like I did for that role. I had somebody who pushed me. I could have said, no, I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing that. That's the final. But I did it afraid. Do it afraid. You know why? You just don't know. I wouldn't have thought. I didn't know. You would not know. Okay? The other thing is, what is your why? What's your motivation? What's pushing you? What's your dream? Okay? Continuous improvement. Improve yourself, please. Make sure you're on the 1 out of 1. Okay? You're on top. Oh, we need somebody for this. This person can do it. They know it's you. They will be perplexed. They will be amazed. Most importantly, they will see in a different light. And that's why I said, please read these books, Home of My Cheese, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I read this book nearly 10 years ago, and it still makes so much sense even till tomorrow. Okay? Be committed to supporting people. You would enjoy it. It would not be easy. Everything I've said are not easy. They're not at all. Okay? Now, when you eventually get in, this is how I'm going to close. When you get into a role, understand the organization, understand their culture. Okay? What's the business like? What's the organization like? What do they need to improve? How can I support? What can I do differently if that's where you want to be? If you feel like you see any role that you feel like you want, please go for it. Go for it. Tell yourself you can do it. Okay? So if you're in the organization, understand the culture. Okay? Once you get a role, start attending boot camps, because it's very easy for us to get complacent when we get on new roles. Offer to mentor other people. Get mentors as well. Okay? Do some sort of knowledge sharing. Go to other people. Oh, you know this. Oh, can you please explain to me? That's knowledge sharing. Record conversations when you have requested for authorization, permission from them. Sorry, is it okay for me to record this? They'll say, yes, please go ahead. Please record conversations. To be very, very useful. Improve your skills. Time management is very important. If you set a meeting for 10, be sure to be there. So be sure to be there 5 minutes too. Just make sure that you're setting those precedences. Now, as part of time management, we have something called prioritization. Within this kinds of organizations, okay, they want to understand how do you manage your time. If you say, oh well, I just do this, I just do that, no, they want you to give them step by step. How are you prioritizing your workload? Okay, you can use the Moscow technique. I know it applies to projects, but it also applies to your personal life. Yeah, prioritizing the important ones, the must ones, the should ones, or you're even using a more time management approach. You're saying you're using the important and urgent ones. Okay, have a structure in place. On my phone, if I need to do something in my workplace, I have my notes. I will scribble everything down. First thing, once I resume the next day, I'm looking at it. So it's like a checklist. I'm looking at it. Oh, have I done this? Yes, I've done this. And that's it. Nobody comes to me and say, oh, you've not done this. It only makes you, they will just see you in a different light and they will feel like you're not reliable. So you want to improve on those skills, your time management, prioritization, presentation. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was office politics. Office politics is one thing when you have gotten into the organization. It is not by doing your bread and butter every day. So by your bread and butter, I mean your day-to-day. No. It's not just, oh, I go in there, I just do my work, and then I'm out. No. Because if you are looking for somebody to promote, for instance, you'll be like, oh, Tayo doesn't mingle with us. There's nothing. They have absolutely nothing to say about you other than you do your work. So are you sociable? Are you an interesting person to communicate with? Are you likable? Trust me, office politics is by who they like. It is not about who does the work. And that's why you see lazy people getting promotion. So it's not about that you know how to do it. No. All of those things will actually make you thrive and successful. Document your wins. Talk about it. Share it. Call your team manager. Oh, I have done this, I've done that, I've done that. They'll tell you, well done. To you, it might be like, is it more than that? No, because the day of reckoning is coming. Okay, just to put it in that context. So document everything, however small, no matter how little it is. And also, don't be afraid to say no. If you have something, someone is giving you something and you feel like, no, this is not, I shouldn't be doing this, please say no. If you feel like you should not be doing this, okay? Be involved in activities in your organization. Take on volunteering roles, support people, speak up, improve your communication skills, formal, informal, tone of voice, how you send emails, how you speak to your colleagues, okay? And again, your presentation skills. Thank you so much for listening to my TED Talk today. I hope that I have managed to do justice to my journey and how we can get to where we want to be as BAs and even surpassing all that. But as a closing thought, I've said everything. Be open-minded. What's your motivation? Continuous improvement. Support people. Make sure that there's enough structure, consistency, and flow in your supporting information. And I shall see you on top. You should be successful at whatever it is you want to do. Applications are not difficult. Please, as long as you have those structures in place, and once you get rejections, please let them not be a setback. Okay?
Thank you for watching this video. Please remember to like and subscribe and stay tuned for upcoming webinars.